Hey fellas, how you doing? It is January 5th. It is like 98 degrees out here. Smell of fella bella. I spent probably 2.5 hours to make the pool not look as bad as it did, and I think I did, but I want to tell you something that I don't think, and I hope that resonates with the guys, and I believe it's true for men. I don't know or why this cat thinks that I don't belong to you, or well. So, anyways, let me show you what we have going on. And I'm trying to set up because I'm going to try to prove to you that having a good traditional family, not just some fucking family, is a big deal. God damn, it's hot out here. Can't tell you, it's like 96. So, anyways, I'm headed back in. Let me get into the shade. It drops like, I can't even tell you. Anyways, it just, no, I don't want to get upset, so. Look. Is that normal for a cat? I'm here. Is this normal for a cat? Now look, I'll touch her. Honestly, I don't know what she wants, but I'm going back inside because it's warm. Oh, I can't even tell you. So, let me give you the abridged things that have happened. So, my wife's nephew, and his name is Marcos, and I've already spoke to him, and yes, he said I can tell you. Let me tell you something. Here is the most spoiled pair of cats on planet Earth. So, anyways, let me take you over here and sit down and tell you what I think happened. And all of this is to say that if you're blessed enough to have a anyways, if you're blessed enough to have a family in your life, that's the big difference, guys. If you have a good traditional family in your life, gentlemen, you're going to be successful, and I honestly believe that you're going to become successful, even if you don't want to be, because your family is going to do like this. When you start going off too much of this, your family's going to be like, no, and they're going to, anyways. I got to see in real time what it was like to see. Now listen, my wife, my suegra, which is mother-in-law in Spanish, my cuña and cuño, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, which is my wife's sister, her children, her two children, Michael and Michelle, and my suegra, La chancla. No, that's a joke. That's a chancla is, I just took it off, a slipper. And when you call your mother-in-law in Mexico, Mexican Spanish, La chancla, that means that if you're messing up, she's going to pull her slipper off and smack the shit out of you. So, anyways, all right, 2 or 3 days ago, my wife's nephew Marcos came back from Cancun, and he's just fucking devastated. He asked the woman, I'm trying not to be upset, he asked the woman in his life right now, I don't understand the cat thing. Look, I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna push her out of the way. I'm gonna be gentle and push her out of the way, and she won't be back. All right, that was Bella. Anyways, let me get back to the point. So, there they had plans to get married, but those plans that they set did not have to do with the family. And his fiance's family didn't like him, so all of it fell apart in Cancun, where the father told his daughter, no matter what, you have to leave this guy or you can't be in our family anymore. So you have to either choose him or choose us. And she chose her family. Now that is what happened. And I don't know much about that because I have never had the family dynamic. So, anyways, all this to say, watch this. Let me turn you around. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna try to set it back here. But if you see, anyways, so the father said that although my wife's nephew Marcos makes over $100,000 a year, anyways, works for Raytheon. Anyways, doesn't fucking matter. They don't like him because he's in a rock band and he doesn't play. They just don't like him, and they refuse to allow him into their family. And to me, that is, God damn it, we would just pop smoke in my area and just lift and shift. We're getting the fuck out of there. So, anyways. So, I can't remember if Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I think it's Wednesday. My nephew calls my wife. He's very upset. He's been kicked out of the family. They're not getting married. They have an apartment together and all this kind of other stuff. And now, from my perspective, before I get too far into this, I don't have anybody. Nobody was looking out for me. And I'm not telling you to feel sorry for me because I'm not. Anyway. All I'm going to try to make my point is that a family, a good traditional family, makes the difference in everything. So he calls my wife, and he doesn't call his mother. He calls my wife, and they talk on the phone for like an hour and a half, and he's very upset. She's telling him that the apartment he's been paying for, he has to move up. He has to move out of the apartment because her family doesn't want him there. So anyway, I'm like, for me, I'd be like, fuck that. No, why don't you move out? Hey, he just doesn't fucking. Let me get the report. So calls my wife. My wife tells him what she thinks he needs to do, but she tells him that he has to talk to his mother. He can't take advice from his aunt over his mother. And you know what? For me, that was a big time deal. Anyway. So anyways, they band together and they decide that they're going up to see him and take care of him. And I cannot tell you, listening into the phone calls, I'm going to blow my nose. Okay. He sounded like a fucking train wreck when I was talking to him. No, when I was listening to my wife talk to him. And then when my wife told him she can't help him with that decision unless he talks to his mother, which is her sister. Anyways, that's a good thing. Anyways, because that dynamic didn't cause problems. that my wife made decisions for his mother. Hey, it just doesn't matter. So, anyways, yesterday they went up to Tucson, Arizona, to help him move out of the apartment. And can you imagine going from engaged to her having the police there when my wife and her family were trying to move them out? I cannot tell you how quick shit can turn for you as a guy. So, anyways, but all I'm trying to tell you guys is that if you get a chance to be a part of a family, and I'm like on the very fringe of being a part of the family, but it has changed the way I think about women and men and families. I think if you grow up in, I tell you, although my wife's family is like 1,000 people strong, and they hug you and kiss you, and they do, and it's just like, it's nothing I've ever been used to in my life. And they treat you like they've known you all your life, and they accept you in, and they feed you even if you don't want to eat. It's just, and they band together. So they left with my mother-in-law from Juarez, Mexico on July 4th, and drove from Mexico, picked my wife up, and went to Tucson just to help him move out of the apartment, get him a new apartment, and move into the storage shed, put his shit in storage. Never had anybody do that for me. And I truly believe that 95% of men have never had that kind of support. And my wife, I thought when my wife asked me if she could go, you know, it's foreign to me to, it's not foreign to me. It is, I am so proud of my wife and her family that they would stop what they're doing. And my sister-in-law and her husband and children came from Austin, Texas to El Paso to Juarez to make sure, and Marco's supposed to come down with his fiance and finalize their plans to get married, and all that shit fell apart. And rather than them just tell him, well, you know what, you're on your own. That's what everybody's told me my whole life. And I believe that's what they tell all of us guys who don't have this kind of support. You know, they'll tell you, hey, you know what, thank you. It's been nice knowing you. Now, goodbye. You're on your own. We're going to go our way. You go your own. And they banded together on the fourth day. I now truly believe in family, but it has to be a traditional family. It's the family that's going to stop what they're doing when you're in trouble. And they're not going to, they didn't ask him any questions. They just wanted to know where he was, if he needed money, what he needed, and they were on their way. For a lot of us guys, that's foreign. And for those of you that haven't, I'm absolutely 1,000,000% jealous of you. And I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just trying to tell you that a good traditional family is far more important than anything else in your life. So I can't believe it took me like 15 minutes to tell you that. So I'll tell you this again. Traditional women, traditional families will change the course of your life for better. And this is the first time in my life I've gotten to see it firsthand. And I cannot tell you how proud I am of my wife and her family because there are guys like me and guys like you out there that have never had that kind of support. And I can't tell you how different my life would be. I'm not going to get emotional, because I don't get emotional, because I don't have feelings. You know, guys, we're stones. I'm so proud of my wife and her family for doing that. And now he told them, no, don't come. I'll take care of everything. You don't have to worry about all this kind of stuff. And you see him crying, and you see tears running down. No, and he's like, everything's okay. I'll be fine. You know, he's doing what we're supposed to do as guys. Like, we don't need your help. We're going to do it on our, you know. And then they mobbed him, and they loved him up. Anyways, I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you guys get an opportunity to have a family that gives a shit about you. Not a family that's trying to take advantage of you, but a family that when shit gets sideways, they band together and are come to help you. I can't tell you how I'd have never gone to jail if somebody had done for me. Anyways, love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can, and if you can't, you have to take care of yourselves. You know what? There are really good families out there, but they're hard to find. And if you find one, gentlemen, I highly suggest you do what it takes to fit in. Like a fort in a G-string from West Texas, El Paso. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.